Good evening. Welcome to QUT Web News. Internet users have been warned by technology experts to use whatever protection is available to them to curb the rising number of security breaches. Fraud experts told a conference on the Gold Coast today, you can't stop identity theft and online hacking, but the best form of attack against the criminals is defence.
The number of online hacking incidents is on the rise, and even authorities admit there's little they can do. Head of Queensland Police Fraud Squad, Brian Hay, said the majority of security breaches aren't even reported.
And the volume that is lost is not being accurately accounted for.
He says identity theft and credit card fraud were two areas proving the most challenging.
We know that the crooks are targeting identity information through social networking sites.
An exclusively male Facebook group called the Brochel Network gained notoriety this week for men sharing racy photos of their female friends with strangers. Media and law expert Peter Black says, despite the tastelessness of the group, no crime has been committed.
You are giving effectively a non-exclusive licence to Facebook and to other Facebook users to use and download and to share those photos.
And he questioned whether legislation would make a difference.
I don't really think that's the answer or the solution from a public policy point of view. I think that the answer is that individuals need to be careful and aware of how these sites can be used.
Internet users on the streets of Brisbane agreed.
I wouldn't put any photos up that I wasn't happy for anybody to see. I think if I had photos that I was worried about, I'd keep them private to myself.
I always kind of make sure who I add are real friends, you know, not people you just kind of friends of friends, because I wouldn't trust them with my information.
I suppose if you put your whole life history online and you expose it to the world, I guess you are asking for it.
If the experts say they'll never get ahead of cybercrime, it's a case of posting at your own peril. Zoe Noble, QUT News.
Brisbane has cemented its position as the nation's leading forensic city today, unveiling a multi-million-dollar upgrade of the state's major forensic laboratory. It's bigger, better and faster and will put Queensland Police on the front foot in fighting crime.
The state's Centre of Forensic Science has received a $7.6 million expansion, unveiled today by Queensland Health Minister Jeff Wilson. The minister says the new laboratory will make the smart state smarter by giving Queensland Police the latest in DNA equipment.
The government recognises that the fight against crime must be led by the latest cutting-edge technology.
This latest equipment means police can have faster access to better intelligence.
Police and the DNA laboratory can now communicate in real time by the electronic transmission of information from one centre to the other.
It can take up to a month for scientists to identify DNA and then pass that information on to authorities. With this upgrade, that time frame will be slashed. This upgraded facility is a major step toward achieving the centre's targeted timeframe of 48 hours for providing DNA results to police.
We want to be the best DNA analysis laboratory in Australia and continue to be so.
The upgrade also enables new technology to be used to its full potential.
So we actually needed to upgrade the building so that the new technology that was being brought online could be utilised for the benefit of Queenslanders.
The upgrade and expansion took 19 months and was completed earlier this year. Dominique Vihan, QUT News.
Domestic violence in Indigenous communities is widespread, according to a national conference on the Gold Coast today. But there's hope. Programs teaching women leadership skills are making a difference.
The support was evident as community groups applauded those tackling domestic violence. Heading one of the projects is Alana Moffat, who said her leadership program is making a difference for Indigenous women.
When a woman actually understands her own worth, her own self-esteem raises.
But because of shame, exactly how common the violence is in Aboriginal communities is difficult to report.
Shame is a big part of our culture and that is very immobilising. When you feel shame about your position, when you feel shame about the fact that you aren't, that the family is not operating as well as it could be and that you're being abused.
The event's organiser says the conference gives delegates a chance to not only network, but speak out.
People should get involved, not only the individual victims, but to create a unified voice.
But is saying no enough? Those sitting in on the talks say places like this need less talk, more action, but as subtly as possible.
We've tried in the past to run a domestic violence support group, but there's a lot of stigma around the actual issue.
In Australia, an Indigenous woman is 45 times more likely to experience domestic violence than a white woman.
Within my own work, I would say probably 70 to 80% of my clients have issues with domestic violence, or have in the past.
But instead of just blaming men, Alana Moffat says they too should be involved in the solution.
I would love to see this program happening for men in a regional way as well, because I tell you what, our women are doing amazing stuff as community leaders.
Melanie Arnost, QUT News.
Alzheimer's disease has reached epidemic proportions in Australia. More than 250,000 Australians now suffer from the disease, and experts are calling on a change in approach to services and attitudes.
Last week's federal budget didn't include any additional funding for dementia care, and that didn't go unnoticed amongst those fighting for more funding and better understanding of the debilitating disease. Alzheimer's Australia President and well-known media personality Ita Buttrose opened the 14th Alzheimer's Conference in Brisbane today.
Better quality dementia care is essential if Australia is serious about successfully tackling dementia.
Experts say this better quality care needs to start with our perception of dementia.
We don't care for dementia, we don't work with dementia, we care for people who are living with dementia.
And that's the message coming out of this conference, taking a different view, where experts are urging governments to approach this debilitating disease differently.
The Minister assured the conference he was listening.
We need to find a much more positive frame about ageing. We need to find a much more positive frame.
But it's never easy for loved ones who have a family member diagnosed with Alzheimer's. Barb Huddy found out late last year her husband Greg had dementia.
I'm not scared, but I am apprehensive, and it'd be lovely to be able to, turn back the clock and make him better again, but I guess we just take every day as it comes.
She says the support of Alzheimer's Australia has been invaluable to her and her family. Ellen Marie Elliott, QUT News.
The latest eco-friendly high-rise development was unveiled today in Brisbane's Riverside precinct. Both council and state government were on hand for the topping out ceremony, which marks the final stage of the major construction project.
At 54 stories, 111 Eagle Street is not only Brisbane's tallest office building, but its greenest as well. It's been designed to meet the highest standards, reflecting a global movement towards large-scale, environmentally sustainable projects.
This couldn't come at a better time. We've been doing it tough in Queensland because of the floods, and this building was affected. But what we are seeing here today is new technology in practice in a large building in Brisbane that will be one wonderful icon on the skyline of Brisbane.
When complete, the unique facade of the building, which incorporates angled structural supports, is designed to mimic the way plants grow towards the light.
This building is one of only a handful in Queensland to achieve the world-leading environmental 6-star green rating.
Occupants of the building will be treated to some of the city's most spectacular sights, with the structure's cutting-edge design offering a panorama of Brisbane's southeast. Unlike most high-rise projects, the building's elevator bank sits in the corner of the structure, maximising views from the building's prime position.
I want Brisbane to be Australia's cleanest and greenest city. And so this 6-star building, with all of its outcomes, with smart lighting, air conditioning, design, a whole range of environmental features leading to a 6-star outcome.
The building's set to open in early 2012 and has already attracted global business leaders Ernst & Young to base their Brisbane operations from the soon-to-be iconic building. Paul Smeaton, QUT News.
Brisbane commuters are set to benefit after the Lord Mayor today launched the city's 400th new bus to the public transport fleet. The new super buses are 2 metres longer and can carry 90 passengers, an increase of 30% over existing vehicles in the network. Bus patronage has grown in Brisbane by 30 million passengers in 7 years.
1 week out from their State of Origin title defence, and the Queensland training has stepped up a gear. The Maroons took their preparations indoors, showing off fancy footwork of another variety.
And the gloves are off in the red corner. The boys in maroon came out swinging at today's first unusual training session. Queensland coach Mal Meninga pitted teammate against teammate. Next week it'll be state against state.
We came here last year and we had a win, so I guess we're sticking with what works.
The Queensland coach says that coming off a 5-year losing streak, those in the Blues corner will be hungry for a win.
Well, we know they're going to be committed and we know they're going to be motivated. We know they're going to be passionate. They're going to be well coached, they'll be well drilled. You know, everyone will know their responsibilities.
For the most part, this is a team used to playing against each other. But for now, they've joined forces to defend an impressive series record.
And even more important will be the inspiration to send Captain Darren Lockyer out on a winning note.
I think we always play for each other and we play for our state. And just because I'm finishing up, that shouldn't change.
A sentiment echoed by the coach.
Not one individual is greater than the team, so Lockie understands that. That's what's made him such a great player over many years.
The team say they're feeling well prepared ahead of next week's clash.
It's going to be a very physical game as always, and they've picked a great side, so it's going to be a tough game Wednesday.
The players found out there was nowhere to hide in a boxing ring. There'll be even less on the sacred turf of Lang Park with millions watching. Natalie Sprott, QUT News.
Time now for a look at the weather. Other parts of the nation are well on their way to winter. Canberra hit minus figures overnight, but it was a beautiful mild day here in Brisbane. From our special time-lapse skycam, we can see how Brisbane's clear start moved into some patchy cloud cover and showers in the afternoon, leading into a slightly warmer night with 15 degrees expected. Around the nation tomorrow, and most of the state capitals will experience partially cloudy conditions. In Brisbane, along with most of Queensland, there'll be isolated showers. Only Darwin misses the cloud and wet, expecting a mostly sunny day with a top of 32. And that brings you up to date with the weather. And that's all the news we have for now.
We'll be back tomorrow with more QUT news. Goodbye.
Goodbye.